Okay, I think it's page 68. I've got a different MISHNA Berura here. It's 68. Siman Chof Hey, we're in the middle of Sif Yud Beis. We were learning about when one has to make another bracha on tefillin. When does one have to make another bracha? We've just got a few lines left to finish the Sif. We'll finish off the Shulchan Aruch and then we'll summarize again exactly what we saw. Okay?
But you mean to repeat the brachas? To repeat.
When does one have to make a second? Yes. Yes. When does it, exactly. So we're on page 68, the last line of the Shulchan Aruch. So at the top, the last line of the Shulchan Aruch. Misha meniach tefillin shel yad uberech. He put on his tefillin shel yad, made a bracha, ubetchilas hahiduk, and he was in the middle of tightening it. Nifsak hakesher shel yad, the knots broke, snapped. Shel yad v'hutzrach, las is kesher acher. He then had to take it off, remake the knot. Omnam lo yisich datoi. His mind, he was thinking about the mitzvah of tefillin the whole time. He didn't take his mind off the mitzvah of tefillin. He doesn't need to make another bracha. There's no hesach hadas. He didn't stop thinking about the tefillin. He doesn't use the bracha. Now we're talking about it snapped at a slightly later stage. Now here he's already tightened the shel yad. He's about to put on the shel rosh, and then the shel yad snapped. So he didn't snap. Here it
slipped.
It became untied.
It became loose.
In this case, he can tighten it, and he doesn't have to make another bracha. But if he put on the tefillin shel rosh, and then the shel yad became loose, then he tightens it. He doesn't need to make another bracha. Now the MISHNA Berura here, it's got nun base. If you look at nun base, that's on the same page we're on now, without turning back, on the third wide line. It's the same as if it slips out of place. Becoming loose and slipping out of place is the same. If according to the opinion of the Shulchan Aruch, the same as whether it's the shel yad or the shel rosh, if they slipped out of place or became loose, one has to make another bracha. However, the halacha the MISHNA Berura brought down from the shlo, we saw it on Sunday, is that during the tefillah, during davening, is never called hesach hadas. He's always thinking about his tefillin, and therefore the MISHNA Berura paskins like the shlo, that during davening, if it becomes loose or untied, one does not make another bracha. Right, so what we saw at the top was the opinion of the Shulchan Aruch. However, we don't paskin like the Shulchan Aruch. Right, we paskin like the shlo. Paskin like the shlo, that if it's during davening, it becomes loose, or the knot snaps or whatever, one would not make another bracha. So what were the cases when one doesn't need to make another bracha that we saw last time? If one goes to a place or does something where one cannot wear tefillin, that's a proper hesach hadas. For example, he goes to the bathroom, or he takes it off in order to pass wind. Where else did we have to make another bracha? If he took it off with the intention of not putting it back on, and then even if he changed his mind to put it on immediately, then one would have to make another bracha. Or if someone wears tefillin all day, someone who doesn't, we only wear tefillin during davening. Someone who wears tefillin all day, then the halachas that we saw in the Shulchan Aruch would apply. We wouldn't have the shlo. The shlo saved us from a lot of brachas by saying that during tefillah there's no hesach hadas. Someone who's wearing tefillin all day, or while he's learning, if he's learning after davening, he keeps his tefillin on, then he would have these halachas of the Shulchan Aruch where it becomes loose, etc.
Yeah. Is there a difference? The cases we're talking about now, it became loose or it snapped. What if you're adjusting it? It's not. You see, it's not in the right place, and you move it to the right place. Is that the same? Because it didn't do anything mimela.
If you didn't purposely do it, then it's the same. The difference is the case of the Ramah, where the Ramah says if he took it off with the intention of putting it straight back on, you're more brought opinion not to make another bracha.
Right.
But then he took it off with the intention of putting it back on. Here it just fell out of place. Whether because you touched it or without you touching it, it slipped out of place. You had no intention of taking it off and with the intention of putting it back on, and therefore you would need to make another bracha. But again, not only if it's not during davening, because we have the shalom.
So the shlo says this.
Okay, yeah. Okay, let's move on now to Sif Yud Gimel.
If you in the process of adjusting it, move it out of place, and it's not during davening, you're doing it with a tremendous consciousness of tefillin. It's the only thing you're doing at that moment.
Right.
So why would you have to make another bracha?
Because you didn't purposely take it off and intend to put it back on.
But what he was saying,
you didn't have that in mind. It slipped out of place without kavanah. You were just intending to. You weren't intending to move it out of its place. If you were intending to move it out of place or untie it and then retighten it, and that's fine. Or most of that's fine.
Right. Okay.
Here the slipping out of place was untouched.
Right.
Okay. Sif Yud Gimel. Nohagu ha'olam shelo lachos tefillin ad acha kedushas. We're going back in the Shulchan Aruch. Sif Yud Gimel. Oh, the one time I'm sorry, we didn't read the last few words of Sif Yud Beis. Last few words of Sif Yud Beis. Mutter levarech hatefillin she'ulin v'lo yal guzulin. The last few words of Sif Yud Beis. One may make a bracha on borrowed tefillin, but not on stolen tefillin. On borrowed, yes. On stolen, no. Says the MISHNA Berura Seif Cotton Nun Gimel she'ulin. V'afilu b'shor shelo midas mutter. He can even borrow without asking. Normally we have there's a klal, shoyel shelo midas gazlan. Someone who borrows tefillin, someone who borrows an article without asking permission, is a thief. You have to ask permission before borrowing.
Like scissors.
Right. Why here is it different? We already saw this klal by tzitzis, by talis. It's the same klal here. Talis and tefillin is not the same. Here one may borrow even without asking permission, because the person one's borrowing from is happy that you're doing a mitzvah with his property, and therefore he doesn't mind that you don't ask. However, there's a few conditions. First of all, we saw that there's one condition he's going to mention here. We saw this with talis. He has to make sure he puts it away the same way he finds it. Right? And also not to move it to a different place. And we also saw another condition that if the owner is around, one should ask him. We're talking about where he's not present to ask. Okay.
Could there be a person who's makpid?
If you know he's makpid, then yeah.
So you could remove this klal by being makpid.
If the last time you did it, he shouted at you, then
right.
Don't do it again. Okay. So in this case, one can borrow them without asking. One can make a bracha on these tefillin. However, if they're stolen, then one can't. One can't make a bracha. Let's move on to if
this is stolen by the person who is borrowing them, so to speak.
Okay, so if seeing as you asked this, let's look at the MISHNA Berura. Okay. I wasn't going to do it, but seeing as you asked the question, this is the MISHNA Berura. He talks about all the possible people who might be using it. MISHNA Berura said, "Kodem nun dalet gzulim to have a mitzvah habo b'aveira." It's a mitzvah that's come through doing an aveira. V'afilu achar yish, even if the person it was stolen from has already given up hope on finding it. Even so, one may not make a bracha on it. V'afilu b'di'evad l'ki mitzvah tefillin, and even b'di'evad he has not been mekayim the mitzvah doing tefillin. The mitzvah of tefillin has not been mekayim. Achim mochar ha-tefillin achar yish la'acher, das ha-mogen avom v'amachzaseh sheker du yuchal hasheni levorech. Someone who stole the tefillin, and the first person gave up hope on finding it, and then he sold it on to someone else, is the next person yotze with the tefillin. So the Mogen Avon, the Machzas Sheker hold that the second person can make a bracha. Did they have a Giyush, the Shinui Rishus? There's Giyush, the first person gave up hope on finding it, and it's passed over to from the Ganef to another person, and therefore, according to the Mogen Avon, Machzas Sheker, one can make a bracha. However, the Taz and the Gur hold one may not make a bracha. The Gur agrees that he's yotze. He's Yotze. According to everyone, he's Yotze the mitzvah, the second person. The person who bought from the Ganef after years, after the first person gave, the person who was stolen from gave up hope, he is Yotze the mitzvah. However, according to the Gra, he cannot make a bracha. Why? It's Niyaz Hashem. It's scorning Hashem to make a bracha on such a pair of tefillin, a pair of tefillin that was stolen. One cannot make a bracha, even though halachically it belongs to him, because there was Yish and Sheni Rishus. It belongs to the second person. However, things that's a stolen piece of goods, one may not make a bracha.
This makes
one
sense.
cannot praise Hashem with such an article.
So this actually raises a question, right? That if you have bought your tefillin from an individual, right? There's no way to know how he got that tefillin, right? As opposed to, say, buying it from somebody who made the tefillin and has a reputation for it. Is that true?
Correct. So therefore, with tefillin, it's very important, for many other reasons as well, to buy your tefillin from a very trustworthy person.
Right.
There's many other reasons as well, because there's many things about the tefillin, about making the tefillin, that we're going to learn in the next few siman and the coming weeks and months. We're going to learn about how to make tefillin. There are many things you can't see on the pair of tefillin, about how it was made.
Right.
So you're trusting a lot the person who made them, and therefore this is another reason why one has to buy it from a trustworthy person.
Right.
And what you mentioned is more important, more to get this time of year, with Arva Minim.
Right.
Where he got the Arva Minim from, because we haven't got all these other halachos of tefillin.
Right.
The only reason one has to make sure that if one buys it from a trustworthy person is because you have to make sure that he bought it in an honest way.
Right.
He got hold of it in an honest way. Okay.
That's a good point.
Where else did this halakha come in with Botzei Bear?
You just said like backstroke.
Yeah.
If you eat something...
With an esrog, you'd have more problems. It wouldn't even be yours. If it's not lachem, then you know it's a mitzvah at all. But say berich is specifically by in a case where you are yotze the mitzvah, but even so you can't make a bracha. You can't make a bracha because it's stolen goods. So by esrog, if it's exactly the same situation, you'd have it by esrog as well, right? In the case where you've got yish and sheni rishus, right, it'd be the same. Okay, let's just finish off the last line of this MISHNA Berura. So he says that even so, a third person who bought it from the second one, there the MISHNA Berura says that one could. So even according to the Gra, who said that the person who bought from the Ganef, shouldn't make a bracha. However, if it then got passed on to another pair of hands, then now it's so far removed.
He explains, I think that he missed a few words here. Maybe before he explains, because the second person.
Right. Sorry, yeah. That the second person, when he bought it, his buying it removes it from the rishus of the owner. That's what does what makes it his. We need two things. We need yish and shini rishus, changing rishus. So what changed rishus from the hands of the gazlan to the hands of the second person is the buying of the second person. Therefore, he couldn't make a bracha. Whereas when it gets passed on to the third person, his buying didn't do anything. Okay. Now let's move on to Sifut Gimel. When can one make the bracha? When does one remove tefillin? Sifut Gimel. Nohagu ha'olam shelo yilach tefillin adacha kedushas v'alitzion. The minhag is not to take off the tefillin until after the kedusha of v'alitzion. In the beginning of v'alitzion, we have what's called kedusha de sidra, the kedusha which is translated into Aramaic. And that kedusha, one should not take off tefillin until after kedushas v'alitzion.
That's the kadosh.
Yeah.
So it's not till the end of v'alitzion. That's what I originally thought. Up until the kadosh.
Well, we're going to see all the different opinions. According to what the Shulchan Aruch mentions, it sounds like after the kedusha part, it sounds like it's already okay. We're going to see now some more opinions. V'yesh misha kosav al tzad ha'kabbalah shlo yilachlos ad she'omar bohem sholosh kedushos v'arba kadeshim. Dahainu la'achar kadesh yosem. Al pi kabbalah, one shouldn't take it off until after he's done said with it 3 kedushos and 4 kadeshim. We're going to see the MISHNA Berura is going to count them out for us. Dahainu la'achar kadesh yosem, which means even after, one shouldn't take it off till after the kadesh yosem. which is after Oleinu. The medaktikim are known to do this, not to take it after the kashrut after Oleinu. On the day when the Sefer Torah, one should not take it off until after the Sefer Torah has been returned to the Aron Kodesh. Now, first of all, this is continuing from the Shulchan Aruch. Obviously, according to the Ramah, the medaktikim take it off after Oleinu, after the Kaddish Yosem after Oleinu is not relevant. This is already after the Sefer Torah has been replaced. It is continuing from the Shulchan Aruch, who says that one should take it off not until after the Kedusha V'Avolitzion, and going with Nusach Sfard or Sfardim who returned the Sefer Torah after Uvolitzion. For Ashkenazim who returned the Sefer Torah before Uvolitzion, again, this would not be relevant. There's no difference between the day when one lanes and the day when one doesn't lane. Hagar, and this is what the Ramah now points out. This is talking about a place where they return the Sefer Torah after Uvolitzion. However, in Nusach Ashkenaz, there's no difference between the day when one lanes and when one doesn't, because Uvolitzion is said after the Sefer Torah is replaced. On Rosh Chodesh one takes them off before Musaf, and so too on Chol HaMoed in a place where they put on tefillin on Chol HaMoed. No, this is all they don't. V'dafka b'makom she'omim b'musaf kedushas keser. So the Ramah says this is only in a place where they say kedushas keser, nusach sfad. When they say kedushas keser, musaf mihu noagim l'salkum kodem musaf b'chol makom. However, the minhag is in all places where they put on tefillin on Chol HaMoed, even if they don't take kedushas keser, we take off the tefillin before musaf. Exactly when? We'll see in the MISHNA Berura. Let's have a look at the MISHNA Berura of Cotton. Nun Hey.
So the minhag of Eretz Israel is nobody wears tefillin on Chol HaMoed?
Definitely among, I'm not familiar with this Sfadim, definitely among Ashkenazim there's no one puts on tefillin. Yeah. Nun Hey. Noagu Ha'ilam. V'yesh she'ein mashin alehem yoser min achiyuv tzrichim guf noki. There's some people who don't leave the tefillin on more than the minimum. Because of this halacha of one has to have a guf noki, a clean body for davening, and we're going to learn the halachas about it, but one has to be very, very careful not to pass wind and other halachas. And therefore some people put on tefillin just for the very minimum. Both when they put it on, they'll put it on just before Birkas Kriyat Shema, after Birkas Zimra, when they take it off as soon as possible, because they're worried they're being machman and the halachas of guf noki. Each person according to his body. If he's worried that he's going to need to pass wind, he should take them off immediately. If he's worried he's going to pass wind, or if he's got a bad tummy that day, then he should take it off immediately. As soon as possible, straight after shemoneh-esrei.
After shemoneh-esrei.
The minimum, we said, the minimum is Kriyat Shema and Tefillah. Shema and shemoneh-esrei. Immediately after shemoneh-esrei, you should take them off.
Including the brachos of Kriyat Shema. Including the brachos of Shema. If he's got
a really is not in good shape, then even he should put on just before Kriyat Shema itself. After the, it depends on how well he's. Right. If he can't put on the Birkas Kriyat Shema, then just before Kriyat Shema.
Then about the bracha, no?
Yeah, we'll learn about when to make the bracha. When can one make a bracha on tefillin? Can one make it during Pesukah Zimra, after Pesukah Zimra, Birkas Kriyat Shema? We'll learn all about that. When can make a bracha. Even if one can't make a bracha, that's not the reason. If he hasn't got a guf noki, then if he can't make a bracha, he can't make a bracha. We'll see. We'll learn about when he makes a bracha. This is the reason why we don't wear tefillin all day, because of this problem of guf noki. In the olden days they would wear tefillin for longer. Nowadays we just wear it just for davening, because we're worried it's very difficult to keep a guf noki, a clean body. Eliezer wouldn't take off his tefillin until after Alkei Nekava, till the end of Oleinu. On a day when there's a bris milah, one should not take off the tefillin until after the bris milah, because the tefillin are an oist.
Even if it's someone else's breast.
Hmm?
Even if it's someone else's breast.
Yes, yes. This is in places where you have a bris straight after davening. Here again in Eretz Yisrael, they usually make the bris in a hall later on.
Yeah,
In which case, just the Baal bris puts on his tefillin.
yeah.
But in places where they make tefillin after davening,
So it's not enough
so
of a reason
where they
to
not
have
tefillin, where they do the bris after davening, the whole kehillah leaves the tefillin on until after the bris.
So it's not enough of a reason to put it on for them, but it's enough of a reason not to take them off.
Right. Because it's difficult to tell the whole tzibur to bring that tefillin with to the hall, so they don't bring it. Yeah, the whole kehillah leaves the tefillin on until after the bris. Because the Mila and the Tefillin are both an oath sign between Klal Yisrael and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and therefore it's appropriate to leave it on during the bris. Sif Cotton Nun Vav Sholish Kedushos. This is very interesting here. The Mishnah says Torah Soifahu. It's a mistake. With Emes Loimer Sholish Kadeshim Va'arba Kedushos. Turns it round, right? 3 Kadeshim and 4 Kedushos. Okay, as opposed to what it says in the Gemara. And now he counts them. Ki Baruch es Hashem nechshav chada. Baruch es Hashem Averach is called one of the Kedushas. That counts as a Kedusha. Shidovo shebe Kedusha. Kedushas Sofa Berura Shnia. The Kedusha of Sofa Berura, that's the Kedusha in Birkas Kriyashima. Sofa Berura Vinima. Right? Because that's Kedusha Diyoit, so that's the second one. Kedushas Hamida, that's Kedusha in Chazos Hashat. Kedushas Evolutzion, that's the 4th one. In Evolutzion, Kedusha Tesidra. Shloisha Kadeshim here, there's 3 Kadeshim. Chatzi Kadesh Kodem Baruch Hu. Chatzi Kadesh before Baruch Hu. Chatzi Kadesh Sha'achat V'Lesu Tches, there's one after shemoneh-esrei, or when there's Tachlon after Tachlon. Kadesh Shonim Sha'ach Evolutzion, and then you have the full Kadesh after Evolutzion.
So this is not.
So according to the Ramah, according to the MISHNA Berura, it does not include the Kaddish after Aleinu. It does not include the Kaddish after Aleinu, and therefore one would take it off after the Kaddish after Evolutzion, or according to the Arizal, he mentioned the Arizal would leave it on until after Aleinu.
But before the Kaddish? Between the end of Aleinu and the final Kaddish?
So one could, according to that Arizal, one could, but we haven't finished yet. There's still another opinion. However, the Pri Megadim and others say that in a place where they say Kaddish Yosef after Aleinu, where there is Kaddish after Aleinu, it is preferable not to take it off until after Kaddish Yosef. So therefore one definitely uses all opinions if one leaves it on until one takes it off after the Kaddish Yosef after Aleinu, one's been used all opinions. If one needs to take it off early, then the minimum one should try is after the Kedusha of Evolutzion. Right? And in the case when one's white at Gufnoki, he needs to pass wind, then of course we said take it off straight away, as soon as possible. Okay, let's just finish this. It's gotten very late. People who are noiheg to fold their talis and tefillin and put them away in the tig while Beis HaMes Kaddish, while Kaddish is being said, lo yofahin, and this is incorrect. One really has to have a lot of kavana when saying Omeni Yesh Megabo. Omeni Yesh Megabo is even a higher level than Kedusha. It's definitely no worse than any bracha. Any bracha one may not do anything, any tashmish, one may not do anything while making the bracha, in order that one concentrates on the bracha. And definitely during Kaddish, which is even holier than Kedusha, one should not do anything at the time one's saying Kaddish, and therefore it's not correct to put away one's fold onto tefillin while saying Kaddish. Okay. We'll continue tomorrow.
Shkai.
Not tomorrow.